Welcome to Rugby Obsession. For all you rugby fanatics out there, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future deep dives. Today, we're going to be talking about a really exciting development in South African rugby, and, well, it's all the buzz surrounding Springboks winger Edwill van der Merwe, and where we'll be playing his rugby in the future.
Yeah.
We've got some pretty insightful reports, and we're going to look at his journey so far, what his options were, and the team he's ultimately chosen to play for. We're going to unpack this big move and see what it might mean for the teams involved.
Absolutely. And for you listening, it's a move that reflects some pretty fascinating dynamics within South African rugby right now, especially considering Van der Merwe's performances. You know, the reports we have clearly indicate that he's departing the Lions at the end of this season.
Right.
His contract is coming to an end in Johannesburg. And yeah, this obviously opens up a new chapter for him.
Yeah, it's been quite a chapter he's written with the Lions. All the reports we've got really do paint him as a standout star for them over the past few seasons. I mean, you've seen those performances, I'm sure. And that incredible 2023-24 season, it really just sort of propelled him into the Springboks conversation, didn't it?
Oh, it certainly did, yeah. And for you following the Springboks, his debut earlier this year was a real highlight. I mean, to score a try on your debut against Wales at Twickenham, that's the kind of moment that players dream of. It was a shame for him and the team, you know, that an injury sidelined him for those of subsequent tests against Ireland.
Yeah.
Tough break after such a high.
Yeah, a tough break after such a... But, you know, even with that injury, those standout performances, they clearly made an impression, right? Because the reports suggest he had a few interesting options on the table, including, and this makes sense to me, the possibility of heading overseas, which is something that a lot of players with international pedigree tend to do. Yeah. And, of course, the potential to stay with the Lions was also there, so he had options.
Exactly. When a player performs at that level, you know, you'd expect a range of offers. But what's particularly noteworthy, I think, for you, the keen observer of the local scene, is that he has reportedly signed with the Durban-based Sharks. And this is being widely seen as a significant strengthening of their backline.
Okay. So for you who are maybe following the Sharks very closely, what is the immediate impact of this move, in your view?
Well, what's fascinating here is that, Van der Merwe isn't arriving in isolation. These reports actually highlight a recent trend of, prominent players moving from the Lions to the Sharks. I mean, for you keeping track of team rosters, think Jordan Hendricks, Emmanuel Chituka, and Ruan Dreyer all joining the Sharks ahead of the next season. It feels like there's a bit of a talent shift happening.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's almost like a pipeline's developing between Johannesburg and Durban, and you wondered about family ties. Emmanuel Chituka is even following his older brother Vincent, who made the same move just a season earlier. It makes you think about the strategic thinking behind these moves for both unions, right?
Yeah, it certainly raises some interesting questions about team building and recruitment philosophies, But I think it's also important for you to remember that while the Sharks are bringing in some high-profile players, there are also departures. The reports details Springboks, loosehead prop Ntuthuko Machunu. He's heading to the Stormers, and that's significant because he'll be filling the void left by Stephen Kitchoff. And then you have flanker James Venter. He's moving to Gloucester in England. And forward Jean-Jay Labishanya, he's reportedly off to play in Japan.
So for you trying to piece together the bigger picture, it's a real period of change for the Sharks. I mean, they're losing some experienced forwards, but the potential addition of a Springbok caliber winger like Van der Merwe, it really signals their ambitions for their backline. And speaking of which, if you love diving into rugby news like this, make sure you subscribe to the Rugby Obsession podcast.
Absolutely. And the reports really underscore why Van der Merwe could be such a valuable addition for the Sharks, Despite having, some star players already in their backline, there's been this kind of talk about a lack of depth on the wings. So you might have seen, versatile players like Ethan Hooker filling in out wide alongside guys like Jalpenkas and Edwin Kuyter. So Van der Merwe's arrival directly addresses that need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's great news for Sharks fans and, and for you who appreciate consistent high performance. Makazole Mapimpi, even at 35, he is still performing at an elite level.
Yeah.
And he's just signed an extension, reportedly turning down overseas offers. That kind of commitment from a player like that is huge.
Oh, it really is. And if you put it all together, the potential arrival of Van der Merwe means that a head coach, John Plumtree, could, in theory, field a starting backline entirely made up of Springboks. We're talking Grant Williams, Hendricks Mapimpi, Andre Esterhuizen, Lucanio Ammon, and Afolaye Fassi. I mean, for you as a fan, that's a mouth-watering prospect. A backline packed with international quality.
It really is. And it's not just about the established stars either, because the reports also mention exciting young talents coming through for the Sharks in the backline. Players like Lorenzo Julius, Hooker, and Hakeem Queen, further bolstering their depth. It looks like the Sharks are really investing in building a strong squad for the future.
It certainly seems that way. And I think for you, considering Van der Merwe's career path, this move to a team with such potential, it could be a really exciting step for him. Choosing to stay in South Africa and join the Sharks, that speaks volumes about his belief in the local game and the direction that the Durban franchise is heading.
So for you trying to understand the broader impact, what do you see as the main takeaways from this move for both the Sharks and the Lions as we look ahead?
Well, for the Sharks, it's clearly a, significant acquisition. He's adding pace, try-scoring ability, and that valuable international experience to their backline. I mean, for you who follow the team closely, this addresses a clear area where they were looking for more depth and firepower. For the Lions, however, losing a player of Van der Merwe's caliber, well, that's undoubtedly going to be a challenge. He's been a key attacking weapon, and they'll need to find ways to fill that void. And this, combined with the other players who've moved to the Sharks, likely means that the Lions will be, reassessing their recruitment and player development strategies.
It is a fascinating development, and for you who follow South African rugby, it definitely adds an extra layer of intrigue to the upcoming season. Edwill Van der Merwe's decision, it feels like a real statement of intent from the Sharks.
Indeed. And for you, the listener, it sets the stage for some potentially thrilling matches and interesting team dynamics. It will be fascinating to see how these player movements ultimately play out on the field.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. A deep dive into Edwill Van der Merwe's decision to join the Sharks. It's a move with big implications for both the Lions and the Sharks and South African rugby as a whole. We would love to hear your take on this transfer. Do you think it's the right move for Van der Merwe? How will it impact the Sharks' performance next season? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay up to date with all the latest rugby news and analysis, don't forget to subscribe to the Rugby Obsession podcast.
And for you listening, what are your initial thoughts on a potential all-Springbok backline for the Sharks? What kind of challenges and opportunities might that present?
Some great food for thought there. Thank you for tuning in to the Rugby Obsession podcast. We look forward to you listening to our next episode.